right, guys, this is a brand new episode of Table Cheese with your hosts Dee and Anton. Anton? What is up?
Nothing much. On this nice Saturday, went out, ran some errands, got to play some games before we started rolling. So had a productive Saturday so far, and the day's still young.
I went out too. I did some grocery shopping this morning, and I've been up all night driving, so I slept until this is funny. I slept until noon, and then I slept again until about 4, and then that's when you called and my alarm went off. But what games did you play?
So just today, I upgraded to PlayStation Plus Premium when they launched that because what I do, I buy annual subscriptions to PlayStation Plus around Black Friday when they're on sale, and then when um when the service launched, they had it where you could upgrade your remaining time, and it was like $20 for me to upgrade the rest of my time. So until December, all the way to premium. And so for me, somebody who like every time I get Game Pass is kind of a waste of money because even though I'll get like it'll be $1 for 3 months or something like that, and so it's not that much, but I'll play one thing one time, and then after that, I'm not really playing anything. Whereas with this, I'm actually playing some of the things that are on the service because I'm on my PlayStation regularly anyway.
I used to have PlayStation Plus, and I used to play all the special games that came out that month. Of course, I would download them to my PS3 at the time. Then, but no, I hear you, man. Like having that Plus Pass is it's a good vibe. You can just play whatever game you want to play and just go at it.
Well, you had it back in like the golden era, and I mean, I think I was in high school when that was going on, and I got it for my PS3, and I remember I got it for my Vita as well
Exactly,
because the Vita library it just had all the games.
all of them.
It
Like
was
every
just
every Vita game you want to play, it was there. Yeah,
so it was like you could either buy Uncharted for 40, $50 whatever, or you could spend that $50 and get Uncharted and all these other games. It was like, So I would have it
it
periodically then, but since the PS4 launched, because I remember I got my PS4 about a week after launch, and I've had play, and so it was Black Friday. I got my PS4, Killzone Shadowfall, and a year of PlayStation Plus. And
that was what came with it. Yeah,
well, they didn't even come with it. This was a week after launch, so what I did, I bought the system. It was Black Friday, so me and one of my friends, we were waiting in line we were waiting in line at Walmart to get PS4s because Walmart was going
wow.
to have PS4s. But then the lady in front of us heard me and my friend talking about PS4s and bought all the PS4s they had.
What a dick.
It
That's
was
such a dick
like,
move, dude.
yeah.
What the fuck?
And so we went to GameStop and waited. It was like GameStop wasn't going to open for like 3 hours. But we went and we were the first ones in line and we sat outside of GameStop because we knew GameStop was going to have them. So we did that, and so some guys pulled up. Like we were still the only ones waiting there. And they're like, hold our spot in line. We'll buy you a game. And I was like, okay, cool, because I only had the money for the system. I didn't have the money for a game, but I knew like PlayStation Plus had some games, and you know, but I didn't have like another $60 to drop on a brand new game. So,
But you did have a plan. It sounds like.
well, yeah, I mean, I was gonna play Resogun. Resogun was one of the first PlayStation Plus games for PS4, and it's by Housemark that's now owned by uh PlayStation, but at the time they weren't a first party. But I remember Resogun was just like that was I think the first platinum trophy I got for myself. Cuz I remember I had let one of my friends borrow my Vita to play The Walking Dead season 1, and he had gotten the platinum in it on Vita, and I was like, that's my first platinum, but it's not like my platinum. So got the PS4, played Resogun, loved it, platinumed it. I didn't even platinum the game that I got, which was Killzone Shadowfall. I played through the campaign and I remember like it looking
Shadowfall
really
wasn't that
good.
good. Shadowfall looks good. I don't think it was good to play though.
Yeah, I mean, I played Killzone 2 and 3, so in comparison Shadowfall, but like I don't think if they had just, released Killzone 3 remastered, it would have given like even that as the launch title wouldn't have been what Killzone needed. I think Killzone just really needs to come back like out of Guerrilla's second team. Yeah, I mean, cuz PlayStation doesn't have a shooter. Xbox will always have Halo as its shooter. Nintendo's doing Splatoon. PlayStation just doesn't. Like Uncharted's the third person. It's not an online multiplayer community driven shooter. They don't have one of
Agreed.
those. And that's something that they're trying to get. Like they've talked
It,
about
it
that.
was it was supposed to be Killzone, but Killzone just like got so dry for fans so fast.
I mean, for me in high school, Killzone was awesome. I would play Killzone.
Well, if you're a PlayStation person, absolutely, that was all you had.
I mean, I had Call of Duty too, but there'd be times where I don't feel like playing Call of Duty, so I'm defaulting back to Killzone.
Those rooms, those Call of Duty rooms can be something else, man.
Oh
So,
yeah, and
no,
on
I get that.
PS3, like Xbox 360 had cross-game parties for a really long time, but PS3 you had to be playing the same game with the person you're playing with to have a party with them. So, for the most part, like everybody was just in the general voice chat. There wasn't the wall of separation because I mean I still play Call of Duty now, but I will never hear anything anyone says that is playing Call of Duty with me unless I know them personally.
Right? No, thank you. I don't need to hear
Right.
any kids. Don't hear
Nope.
any old men sleeping in the
Nope.
background. I don't need. No, I don't need like any
Even
like
now, like sometimes I'll play like Apex Legends. Like I'll have a day off and I'm playing during the day, and I'll play Apex Legends and I'll start a party with just myself on PlayStation. So I'm just playing the game. No one's hearing me talk because like I might have a podcast playing, I might have music playing, I might have like something else going on in my background that I don't want just whoever to hear. My wife might come in the room, we might start talking, like just don't want any of that.
feel that.
Go into Apex. Like I remember back when I was playing Overwatch a lot. Like Overwatch is 6 people, and yeah, anytime I'm interacting with a kid on an online game in any way, shape, or form, I'm out
Nope.
because it's
No.
like I don't know that 69420 Dante. It like that could just be a troll, but
You
in
know,
the
you make that name randomly, but like people have names like that on there. That's
yeah,
that's
I
the funny
mean
part.
that name was crowdsourced from just playing a lot of online games over the years. Got to pull a
But
name out the
I
ether.
did, and usually it sticks. Like that's usually how that goes. There's so many out there now. But I used to play the PlayStation Plus games, and I did get it just for the God of War on the Vita actually. But I had a PS3. Didn't realize like you can use it. I actually think like it was more for the Vita before it was for the PS3, and it's hard to remember back then. But
Well, I
like
remember
that was the reason why I got it.
it was the first time, and that actually like ties into the trials. That was on PS3. There were timed trials where you could play a game for like 2 hours, and then
Right,
it would lock you out of the game and you could either buy it or you could delete it. And so
right.
I remember being in high school, like instead of just buying a game from GameStop and then hoping it's good and trading it in and like watching reviews on YouTube and all of that stuff. Whereas playing the trials like Bulletstorm, a game that I have like a soft spot for is because like I played the PS3 trial for Bulletstorm, liked it a lot, went to GameStop, got the game, and played through the rest of it. But I went in knowing that what I was buying I would already like, and so
Mm.
now Roller Drome on PS5 is a game that is from Roll 7, which are the developers of Ollie Ollie, and I'm a huge Ollie Ollie 1 and 2 fan. I don't know, World's not as strong to me because they went from kind of like the pixel art to even the flat 2D. Now it seems a lot more. It doesn't feel as accurate of a game to play to me now. Like it's still good. Like they still have the same mechanics, and it's still like. But I remember playing Ollie Ollie 1,
Not
really
the same
enjoying
vibe.
it, and then getting Ollie Ollie 2, seeing a trailer, and I was like, I'm sold. And I mean, I was sold for Ollie Ollie World because I like pre-ordered the Rad edition and just had it ready to go on my PlayStation once it came out, and I played it. But and I might go back to it. I might just not have been like in the right spot for that game at that time, but and maybe beating Roller Drome will make me go back because this is there were years between Ollie Ollie and Ollie Ollie 2 and Ollie Ollie World. But Ollie Ollie World came out earlier this year. So this is the quickest turnaround they've had. Like they've probably been working on this game side by side with Ollie Ollie, and it's really good. So I played the first 2 hours, which actually that the trial I had a bug, and apparently this bug is happening. Like I haven't really used any of the trials. Like I've mostly been playing either games that I own or like I haven't used any other trials so far from the PlayStation Plus thing, but Roller Drome was one they advertised because I saw it. I was like, it's from Roll 7. It looks really cool. I'm in. And then downloaded the trial the other day. Didn't open it earlier today. Opened it, and I was supposed to have 2 hours, and it only gave me 35 minutes.
That's
So,
it.
yeah. Which apparently is a bug because you're supposed to get 2 hours. But for me, the 35 minutes that I played of it was enough to let me know, yeah, I'm willing to play it. And it's on sale until the end of the month for PlayStation Plus.
Kind of
So,
throws your 10-hour rule out the window. But like the fact that you bringing this up really goes on to like the key of the show that we wanted to talk about, which is like how do you pick your games? Like you are actually like getting into the conversation we were gonna have anyway, but like which is like how do you pick your games and like and like this starts from me listening to one of your episodes on Cheesy Controller about how like you guys playing the game, then that game is not right for you. Someone made a comment saying like well 10 hours isn't long enough for a game, and it made me ask the question to you like what is like the proper process specifically for you, and maybe like what you've heard from some others throughout the gaming community, like how you guys pick your games and how you go about your game playing.
well, so I now with more games journalists around my age and a lot more just like community and like being on Discord, like having seeing what a lot of other people do, it seems like, and I mean, I kind of do this too. I'll play things consistently as they come out, as like to try and stick with the conversation to understand. So like when something special comes out, like Elden Ring earlier this year, like you play new things and every once in a while something will catch you, but you're I'm not playing everything that's coming out. Like Dying Light 2 came out earlier this year, and I know for me Dying Light isn't going to move the needle whatsoever. I'm only going to play the things that one thing with following games news is I get a lot of early impressions because they'll like The Last of Us Part 1 is floating around out there. People are playing the PS5 remake of The Last of Us Part 1 right now on their PlayStations. So for me, like I know it's kind of like a buy immediately, wait for a sale, or just like I know this isn't for me. And like every game kind of fits into one of those categories. So, SnowRunner, a
How do you
truck
how,
simulator.
how do
What's
you
up?
how do you fit that process though? Like like a game comes out, like we're gonna be talking about this later on, but like Midnight Sun is a fighter game. Like you see that game, how do you know like you whether you're gonna play that game or like go to Redbox? I don't even like know your process of buying and renting your games if that's still a thing.
Well, I had like two game experiences with Redbox. And the
Okay.
first time was I rented Skyrim and it almost bricked my PS3. The second time was I rented Titanfall 2 and somebody photocopied the top of the disc with the Redbox code and just put a piece of paper in the like box and returned a piece of paper to Redbox.
You gotta be kidding me.
So after
Sorry, I'm
that, I
sorry.
was like, no thank you, Redbox, never again. And
Wow,
the
that's some
thing was,
crafty
like,
shit right
I
there, dude.
called the people at Redbox and I was like, oh, here's what happened. And they're like, okay, we'll refund you. And they're like, just return the case the same way. And so I did it and they put it back in circulation. The next person that went to that Redbox to rent Titanfall 2 rented a piece of paper.
Wow.
So after that, I was like, yeah, no. Redbox, like, I'd rather own my games. And I mean, back in
They're
the
still
PS,
around.
huh, yeah, I'm surprised they're still around because the amount of just like gaming the system people would do. Because even with GameStop trade-in value, if you rented a bunch of games,
Okay.
didn't return them or photocopy them, return them like almost immediately, trade in all those games, actually be able to buy whatever new game you want or whatever. Like, I'm surprised they're still around just on the game front because I know that like the movies, it's less likely somebody's going to steal a movie. Like if they put the DVD, there are ways to rip a DVD and burn it to other stuff, but n- not the vast majority of people are going to do that. So
Get that.
on the movie side, I guess it kind of makes sense, but I every time I see one, I'm just like, no. And I mean,
It's not
now
gonna happen.
I have the digital only PS5, so for me, there is no renting except these trials. So these trials are just download essentially like the package file for the game, start playing the game with the timer in the background. Uh, Timer runs out, and in this case, I got Roller Drum, but
Okay. Yeah. You mentioned that. Well, keep on going. Let's talk into that. That's a part of the topic too. It's like you did like the package. That's a part of your console,
yeah,
and you played a game, and you how long you been playing? How many hours do you think you put into Roller Dome?
I put in the 35 minutes that the trial gave me before, because like right after that, I was like, I got the game, but I was like, I wanted to hop into Fortnite because they have the Dragon Ball crossover going
I
on.
I heard.
And so there are some things you can earn just for free from playing. And I also want to finish the battle pass so I can unlock Darth Vader. So,
You guys are going on and on about Darth Vader quite a bit on your show, as I heard. But yeah, no, I get I get it. You guys are putting Darth Vader in just about everything. No, that's cool.
well, I mean, on the Star Wars end, like if I really want to play a Star Wars game, I'm going to play Jedi Fallen Order because I'm about a third of the way through that and I need to beat it before Jedi Survivor comes out. So that's one that, and it had a free PS5 upgrade. So from Respawn, really good game. Like if anybody hasn't played it and is a Star Wars fan, it's revolves around the Inquisitors and Jedi in hiding after Order 66. It's actually really good. So,
Je- Jedi, uh, Jedi Survivor, like that's that recent game that came out. They, I did hear like they are adding things to it. Is it going to be like just like more expansions? Is there like a sequel to the game? Like how's that going to work out when it comes to that game?
well, Survivor isn't out yet.
It's
Uh,
not out. I saw gameplay. I thought it was out already. All right.
oh no. And I mean, whatever gameplay you saw, we haven't gotten much. Like, we haven't gotten a gameplay deep dive of Jedi Survivor yet.
Okay.
Jedi Fallen Order was the big showcase game, and that kind of mixed Dark Souls like combat into Star Wars, kind of like Sekiro, but with a lightsaber. And what I played so far is really good. I'm just stuck on like a mini boss that's really hard right now. So, and last time I went, I beat it, but there wasn't a checkpoint right after it, and so I got killed by some stormtroopers. So I want to get back to that. I want to finish that. But Jedi Survivor, it seems like they're adding a blaster, and it's looking like they're going to lean more into the Bloodborne style of parry, because this game is obviously influenced by Sekiro. And the next one looks like it's going to be obviously influenced by Bloodborne, because Bloodborne, you have a gun in addition to your weapon, but your gun isn't used for like shooting in like the traditional sense. Like, Bloodborne isn't a third person shooter, but that's your counter mechanic in that game. In Sekiro, you clash with your katana, and they have like a deflect timing kind of thing with that. Same deal in Jedi Survivor. And in Bloodborne, there's a countering where you use your gun to stagger an enemy when they're attacking you based on timing. And it looks like that's what they're adding with the blaster that Cal gets in Jedi Survivor.
All right. I'm doing my homework and looking into like the Sekiro Jedi Master. Gotcha. All
Well,
right.
I haven't beaten either of those games. I platinumed Elden Ring. I beat Elden Ring multiple times, but as far as Jedi Fallen Order and Sekiro, I haven't beat either of those. I beat Genichiro in Sekiro, for those who know what that means, and I am on. I think I just got the Force pull in Jedi Survivor. I got the problem with the Force powers in that game is it's either Force push, Force like throw, all these different things, and so I couldn't give you an accurate representation. I know I'm on a planet. I beat Dathomir, if that helps
And these
anybody.
are these are also the swords like with the second sisters and whatnot too, right?
Yeah.
If I'm correct. All right. As you can all tell, like when it comes like to the details of the games, I'm not as knowledgeable. That's why you're here, man.
Yeah.
But you mentioned something that we're gonna be talking about also. Also, first off, thank you for sharing like the way like you pick and choose your games. It's not like it's just like you see something you like, you hear something you like, you play it for a second, and then like you like it, you keep it, you don't, you toss it in the bin. Like it's pretty cut and dry. It sounds like.
Yeah. I mean, Japanese games, like a lot of things from Square Enix, certain, like if it's a PlayStation Studios game, certain things like that put a game in a must play, like certain Atlas games. So there are like publishers, developers, studios that I know to just keep on the radar and whatever they do. And then there are things like another game I got today, We Are OFK,
Okay.
is releasing in a weekly episodic format, and the first two episodes dropped on the first week, so that's out, and I'm going to check that out because that seems to a game I really like, Sayonara Wild Hearts. Like, that is a music influenced game, and when I let like actual musicians play that game, they're always inspired to want to do something like that with their own music. And so We Are OFK is another kind of like music oriented, shorter experience. Like, I'm pretty sure the first 2 episodes is going to take me under 2 hours. So I'm going to check that out actually after we finish recording. But yeah, so
Sayonara Wild Hearts, what you said?
yeah, Sayonara Wild Hearts, like, it was kind of pitched as like a mix between Scott Pilgrim and Persona in a way. And I was like, that's
Okay.
really cool. But then, like, it was on Apple Arcade at launch, and so that was a game I paired my phone with my controller, and I played through the entirety of Sayonara Wild Hearts 1 week before going to record Cheesy, and was able to talk about that game there. But since then, I've shown it to musicians, and it's like, watching it doesn't play it justice. It's one of those things you got to play.
You had to get your hands on it.
Yeah, so I mean, if you have Apple Arcade, I definitely recommend. Like, there are a
I do
few
have
other
Apple Arcade.
games. Yeah, check out Sayonara Wild Hearts. It's on there. It's just included. I think it has touch controls, but if
It's
not,
like there's an objective to it. Like it has like actual antagonists along
yeah,
with the game. It looks like a temple run, a subway surfer kind of vibe, along with
yeah, it does have kind of some auto runner
yeah,
things about
auto
it,
runner.
but it also, like, it has. I don't know if you've ever played Res, but Res is like kind of like a third person Star Fox music oriented shooter thing. And certain, like, Sayonara Wild Hearts plays with mechanics a lot because it's such a simple game. Like, each level, that's why I say watching it can't really convey what the game
Do it
is,
justice.
because it's one of those things that, like, playing through it, it's like playing through a concept album. Like, you're listening to this album, like, it's set songs. Every song is a level. Every level has a
But it's not just
story
one
that
thing.
ties in with the song and the gameplay. So
It's like listening to Coheed and Cambria. Gotcha. No, I get that completely. Uh, all right. I feel you. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna check out Sayonara Wild Hearts. I will give you an honest review on the next episode. But you also brought something up that we're gonna be touching to as well. We got like three topics to bring up
yeah,
inside of here, and you talked about Elden Rings.
yeah.
El- Elden Rings like is arguably right now. I think I heard someone on the podcast talk about like what game could be the game of the year, and they say so far it could be Elden Rings, but God of War could possibly dethrone that game as being game of the year itself. So
The more
Elden Ring is
the closer we get to God of War, the less I'm convinced it'll be able to, because I'm probably the only, well, probably in Madrid's opinion, Elden Ring's close to the top of his list for this year. But I know, as far as Chris and Jalen, neither of them have gotten past even a quarter of the game. So I don't think it's
is
necessarily Game of the Year material for them. Madrid
is,
beat
is
it,
that
and I platinumed it.
is that because like they lost interest or because the game was too difficult for them?
Lost interest because the thing with Elden Ring, especially in Chris's case, we could ameliorate like a lot of the difficulty in co-op. Like, there were a lot of times when I was playing early on that it didn't make it, because it scales, so it didn't make it easy button, but like certain things I would take on in co-op. And then my second playthrough I did it entirely by myself to prove that I could beat the game without using co-op.
All right. Are you excited for God of War Ragnarok when it comes out?
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed God of War 2016, 2018, whenever that game came out.
The,
The
the
God
first
of
one,
War
right?
reboot. But
Reboot.
I'm excited for it. I just know that it's going to be kind of like a good 40 hours, and I'm just kind of in and out. And the closer we get, I don't think they're going to do anything as epic, because instead of it being 3 games like it was with the original God of War trilogy, it's only 2 games, and so they kind of have to cram Act 2 and 3 into one game, and so I'm not exactly sure how they're gonna, because
Is Ragnarok the final game in this series?
yes, they've already
I
said
didn't.
that Ragnarok is the finale of the Norse saga for God of War,
Wow.
and God of War is probably gonna go away for a while after this game.
It would have to. Like it would have to.
Yeah,
Because like you had to process all of this. I didn't know this was gonna be like because like you say trilogy. There was actually like five God of War
6.
games. Like, if we're gonna be on, yeah, six really, yeah.
Because it
Because
was God of
The
War 1,
PSP
2,
one,
and 3, God of War
right?
Chains of Olympus, and Ghost of
Right.
Sparta, and then God of War Ascension.
Yes, which are PSP games. Like the last three are PSP games. So like
Ascension was a PS3 online multiplayer God of War game.
was not a very good game.
I
Even-
this it was interesting. Like Chains of Olympus and Ghost of Sparta are probably some of the PSP's best games,
Okay.
but Ascension, the only two, that's the only God of War game that has never been re-released. Because it was in the era of like Assassin's Creed getting multiplayer and like Gears of War Judgment coming out because Gears of
Oh,
War. So it was kind of in the response of the industry. Like it was in a really weird time where all games had a tacked on multiplayer feature, and God of War, like, it had a story, but it was primarily focused around like online competitive multiplayer God of War, which is
you're taking
just,
it back, man.
yeah, I mean, that's the thing. With years of playing PlayStation and following PlayStation and being, even now where I'm gaming on my Switch and like certain things, my Switch will never be my primary console. My Xbox will never be my primary console. It's like I play stuff on PlayStation, and like if something's exciting that's exclusive, I'll go, but at the end of the day, I would rather every game I play be available on my PlayStation.
You sound like me back in my teenage days. I appreciate hearing that. That really feels good to hear. I'm not gonna lie to you. But we have sidetracked quite a bit. But let's let's get up into like the main topic. Elder Rings has 60 million copies sold worldwide. That's a good amount for a video game, especially for it being out for probably 3 months. Yeah,
No,
three
it's been
months.
about 5 months because it came out in March, I want to say. So it's been out.
It sorry, they sold 3.2 copies in 3 months. That's my apologies. You're right.
Yeah, so now 16.6 million. I remember it, the numbers, it was the best selling game from Software out of the gate. It had more pre-orders than any of their other games. It Elden Ring kind of broke out of the gaming sphere in a way a lot of games don't. And like I was excited for Elden Ring because I've enjoyed the From Software games I've played, but I haven't really, I've never beat one until now, and Elden Ring was just so good to me that I beat it the first time with getting co-op help with certain things, beat it the second time entirely by myself, went back, got the legendary ashes and the legendary weapons that I needed, and I have the platinum trophy in Elden Ring. Like, granted, once you're really into that game, the platinum's not that hard of a thing to get. Like me and several of my friends who were playing all have the platinum trophy because we were all just playing. We attacked that game like a hive mind. Like we went into Elden Ring and it was who got off early from work and is playing and who stayed up late last night playing, and you discovered this where, all right, summon me in, we're going to go get that site of grace in your game, and we're going to, like, I found out like this really obscure thing I had on how to find this boss, we're going to go get it, you need this weapon. So it was really kind of like a bunch of people all playing the game at the
Utilizing
same
the fun,
time.
it sounds like, yeah.
Right. And all enjoying it. So I'd
Right
get
on.
on one night and it's like, yo, we found this katana that's like really broken. you got to get this katana because I had high dexterity, so I could like dual wield katanas, and I had one that did like lightning damage when I swung it. So combining that with the bleed katana that they found, that was really good. And but yeah, for
Sounds like you
me,
really got into it.
yeah, I Elden Ring consumed my life for like the first month that it was out. I wasn't playing anything else. I'd try and play something else, and I'd just like get sucked right back into Elden Ring. Someone would get on and would need help with the boss, and it's like, oh well, I'm gonna hop back on. I help them with the boss, and then it's like, well, there's something in my world I want to do. Go do that, and it Elden Ring, in my opinion, it's my game of the year, 2022 so far.
It also
So
sounds like you don't think that you're gonna get that same kind of experience with the new God of War games. And like that's not gonna like to bring it back to
yeah,
that. It seems like you're not gonna have that same type of experience with this. That's why you think it got Elden Ring will be the game of the year, and like the 16 million copies being sold is also like it's
yeah,
valid.
and God of War is going to sell more than 16 million copies. Like, it's not a new
It's a different kind of
IP.
game. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like a blockbuster game. And for it to
exactly.
be a blockbuster game, it has to be digestible kind of in the masses, where Elden
Hmm.
Ring's not digestible. Elden Ring's hard as hell, and Elden Ring is, but it has had mainstream success. Like, a lot of people will get it and try it out because the world's great, the story's great, the lore. It's just such like a rich game that people will gravitate towards it. And like, people have been hearing about FromSoft, people have heard about Dark Souls, people have heard about Bloodborne, people have heard about Sekiro. And for Elden Ring to have the added layer of its open world, so if you get stuck on a boss, it's not, because that's the thing. I was stuck on the Guardian Ape in Sekiro. I'm stuck on the Bloodstarved Beast in Bloodborne. Like, there are bosses that I'm stuck on, and unless I go back and get my skills back and am able to beat that boss, that's it. But Elden Ring, there were bosses I'd get up to. It's like, yo, I cannot beat you yet. Go get a better weapon, get something like that I could see using against that boss. Go back and kill that boss. Like, it gave you a,
Challenge. It sounds like something could give you a challenge.
but it gave you like a toolbox of things to do, whereas I felt like the previous Souls games are a lot more structured. Like, Elden Ring was just like, here's the keys to the castle, you can go anywhere, you can do anything. Like, my second playthrough,
Figure it
I
out.
I went and I beat the second boss, like the second real boss, before I beat the first real boss, because the second boss gave me the ability to respec my character, and so, and where there wasn't as much benefit to doing the first boss, so it just kind of gives you a lot more options and a lot more things to do. Like, it has the Breath of the Wild philosophy of, we're not going to give you objective markers. You're going to mark the map manually by yourself. Like, if you see something off in the distance, mark it, make your way there. It's not going to be easy getting there, but it'll be rewarding. Like, there's actual exploration. Like, Breath of the Wild and Elden Ring are two games that I feel like emphasize actually exploring a game world and not having all the answers and not knowing everything, because the map is just scattered with stuff, but there's not like an exclamation mark over everything that's interesting. You could be on your horse and ride past an NPC that had a whole side quest line, but you didn't know that, and it was just an NPC you rode past on your horse.
Hmm. It sounds more like since you're saying that, like I do think like from what you're saying, it does sound like it has more of a challenge to it. It also sounds like it was a bit more real. Like it had like more of like a realish kind of feel to like it made you get more immersed in the game as opposed like to say like the Dark Souls did.
Well, yeah, and that was kind of one of the things. It was because you would unlock you start off and the map is just gray. Like, you can't see anything. and it's not like Assassin's Creed where as you go the map fills out. It's you get the map fragments, the map fills in, but it doesn't add the points of interest. It doesn't. So like I know Assassin's Creed, you climb a tower, you synchronize all the side activities, all the collectibles, everything is highlighted on your map, and it's just a matter of like, because I mean even Spider-Man, a game that I like really love, did that. Like you would connect with the police scanner, get the area, all the POIs are just put on your map, and it's just a matter of going through and clearing them out. But Elden
Gotcha.
Ring, you wouldn't know there's a catacomb until you stumble into a catacomb. You wouldn't know there's a secret boss. Like, literally, one of the secret bosses in the game, you have to jump. There's not even a site of grace, like, near it. You have to teleport to the nearest site of grace. You have to dodge an entire building.
Side of Grace, is that like a teleportation?
Yeah, it's like it's bonfires or I'm trying to think. It is the spots on the map you can teleport to. So the
Okay.
site of grace is like the safe spot. Every time you rest at one, your health recharges, your healing
Mm.
flask recharge, but all the enemies respawn.
So it's like a save point too. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Oh, but the enemies respawn? Is that what you just said?
yeah. So like if you
Fuck.
just went through an area, made it to a site of grace, and you killed everybody in that area to get to the site of grace, when you rest at it and recharge your health, everybody behind you just respawned.
That's like some crazy Minecraft shit right there, dude. No, thank you. Good damn. That's wow. Yeah, challenging is definitely the word to use to describe this. That's holy hell, dude.
I mean, the amount of everything except for like bosses that, and that's major bosses, because even some like world just kind of out there bosses will respawn.
Good damn. And so you gotta remember, like my initiation into this is like through MK Ice and Fire, which is where like I watched the gameplay. So like I haven't been hands on with this. I've only seen like other folks play this game, and I didn't know like there was so much detail
Yeah,
into it. Holy
I put
fuck.
over 100 hours into that game, getting the platinum, and I'm hoping like Game Awards something we get Elden Ring DLC, because they did DLC for Dark Souls, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne. They didn't do any for Sekiro. They didn't do any for Demon Souls. So I'm hoping Elden Ring gets DLC.
Uh, you have a podcast, as we know and talked about quite a few times. I know FTO does. I wouldn't say like a podcast best of, but like then I'm saying aloud, that's probably going to be what happens. But are you guys going to do like a best of podcast for yours and like and talk about like what you think the best of game is of the year?
Well, yeah, we do a Game of the Year special every year. It's either in December or in January, depending, because like some things like I think last year Final Fantasy 14 Endwalker came out early December, so we didn't want to do
Yeah.
it in December until we had beaten Endwalker, because it's a game that like really makes the conversation. But yeah, we do a Game of the Year every year. We have a discussion. We kind of bring our top lists. We give some shout outs to games. But yeah, that's always like a 2-3 hour affair of just
I can
talking
understand
about the
that.
best. Yeah, the best of, but in games is Game of the Year. We have a Game of the Year every year, and I remember.
Elden Ring.
So, huh?
Elden Ring is going to be a part of it, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, Elden Ring is my Game of the Year. It's
You don't care what comes out after this. You don't care.
well, like I'm open to anything, but like Final Fantasy 16 is something that definitely could challenge, but that's not
I
till next year. And
I've heard the episodes of you talking about that game. Yeah, you've gone on and on about that game for sure.
so yeah, this year I was expecting to like Elden Ring. I didn't expect Elden Ring to be as impactful. It was like when I got into Monster Hunter. Like I was like I'm expecting to like Monster Hunter, but Monster Hunter was like Destiny even. back when early PS4, I was like, I expected to like Destiny. I didn't expect Destiny to become like one of those transformative games for me. So I'm still open. Like, if any other game wants to just drop and be life changing for me, I'm open to it. But so far, nothing else this year has that hasn't happened with anything else.
Right on. Well, that's your Elden Ring news. Man, you really got into it. I think this is why I like having like the video game podcast, because like you talk about like the nuance about the game, you talk about like your experiences with the game, you talk about like how a lot of people will see this game also, like even your buddies at Chessy Controller, you talk about like that as well. So like this is why I like having like this kind of avenue where a person who I won't call myself an amateur or a novice with the games, but I have been out of the gaming world for a good while and haven't played anything. I can't tell you how long it's been since I played a video game like on a console. It's been a good while. But you got a story that you really wanted to talk about with Death Stranding. So please, like, take it away, man.
Yeah, so the Xbox Game Pass account this past week, and this story, like, it was unfolding, and as it was going was interesting. Uh, Death Stranding, Hideo Kojima's newest game, originally a PS4 exclusive, came to PC, published by 505 Games. Rumors started going around that it was coming to PC Game Pass, which, like, for a PlayStation exclusive game, the PC port of it to be coming to PC Game Pass, which is owned by Xbox, like, it was already interesting, but the PC Game Pass Twitter account changed its profile picture and banner to just their logo over a screenshot from Death Stranding, and they actually changed it twice. So they did it the first time, and it was kind of like, oh, this could be any open world game. This could be any number of things, but then they did it again where the fish were floating and there was time fall happening, which is like the black rain in the game that
Okay.
speeds up time. And it's like, so yeah, it's definitely Death Stranding. And then they officially announced it that Death Stranding is coming to PC Game Pass, which for me
I
that's
think
cool because that game is
they
probably best.
the post is one of the characters holding a secure briefcase with no PC Game Pass, and the
Yeah,
caption says special delivery. Right.
right. And that game's entirely about delivery. That game, for me, that game was a really relaxing and really like a fun experience. Like, I got probably halfway through it and didn't like. It's a game that I definitely want to go back and finish at some point.
But it did have a lot of mixed reviews, like from what I've saw
Yeah,
in
it's
the
not for
fandom world.
everybody. That's the thing. It's Hideo Kojima. It's take it or leave it. It's he had an interesting idea for a game. It gels with certain people like me. Like, even watching, because Darren, one of my friends over at Rusty Rupees, he got it day one and streamed it and was playing it, and I was like, "You're just delivering packages. What's the big deal?" But for me, when I was playing it, it was it was interesting because it had hiking. So, like, you are delivering packages, but you're hiking, and it's somebody who, like, on the weekend I will get up and go out hiking and have to deal with the terrain, like if it just rained and like it's muddy, and I could take this path where I'm walking along the river and it's an easier hike, or I could actually go and have to like climb up rocks and stuff like that. So
But I'm assuming like it has like hiking mechanics inside the game that like like the characters do get I'm guessing assuming tired. The character also have to go
mm-hmm.
like to certain terrain where they gotta avoid certain obstacles. They have like you got to find the right time to rest and things like that.
Yeah. So I mean, it has all of that. It has like it's as granular. That's the thing. I think this game's really good on PC. Like, I've only played it on PlayStation, but I could see it being really good on PC for like the management part of it. It's like
Okay.
if you're going for a long hike, the better your boots, the longer, like the more energy you have, because if your boots have been worn down, you're sliding more, you're using more energy. Uh, so like keeping your boots fresh was like a mechanic in
Interesting
the game,
simulation.
and like you had energy drinks you drink, and if you felt like you needed that extra boost of energy, when you'd make it to a base, you'd rest, you'd shower, you'd use the restroom, and you'd actually so like the urine that you would build up from either drinking water or energy drinks or whatever while transporting packages, that would be turned into bullets that would work on the BTs, which were like the spectral, the like weird big antagonists of the game.
Pause. Pause for a second. You use your piss to defeat the antagonist. That's what you're telling me.
Yeah, but they weren't like people. They were invisible if you hadn't like experienced time fall. It was explaining it, it makes sense because like if your backpack's too heavy and it rubs into your shoulders, like
Okay.
it cuts your skin, and so the blood, it would be like there would be blood grenades that would make them visible, and so it was kind of, it was a whole Death
You
Stranding.
know, you get how this sound like as you explain it to me. You hear this out loud, don't you?
Yeah,
Okay.
and outside of the context of the game, it doesn't make sense. But in the context of
Okay.
the game, it's not as weird as it sounds. But I mean, it's a
All right.
weird game. I won't say
So
like,
it's supposed to be a weird game, is what you're telling me, like flat out. It's supposed to be
yeah,
a weird game.
Kojima
Okay.
leans into the weird. Like Kojima was the one that would read your inputs from your PlayStation controller if it was in port 1, and printed, like you needed a code that was located on the disk of the game. So what you'd have to do, or like the box, so you'd have to look at the box and to get the code to put into the game to progress the game. So like Kojima's always thinking outside the box. This is a game like Metal Gear Solid was a game where you kidnap people with a balloon and have them work for you on your base.
Right. I remember that. That's right.
So it's not like weird stuff. Yoshi
They
showed up
knew.
in a Metal Gear Solid game one time. Just
That's
not like
right.
straight up Yoshi.
You're
so
not wrong. That is correct.
so this is a bit more gritty with it, but I mean it's Kojima levels of weird.
All right, I hear you now. I'll put my stink face back into my pocket. I apologize. You're just like
Yeah,
what bug? What the fuck?
out of context, but like you could see like in a sci-fi world where there are invisible monsters that can only be shown up, like the only time people see them is right after they're done killing somebody, and so like you have an access to, you find out like the, to make them visible they have to interact with blood, so you make a grenade out of blood that you throw at it and make it visible so you can fight it.
Yeah. You see, the funny thing about all this is like what you just said is recorded forever. So,
A Hideo Kojima podcast.
but I'm definitely had to like check this out because like that does sound first off very Japanese. Like I will say that first, it does sound extremely Japanese, but
And
it
that
does
was
sound like
something, it didn't get the best reviews from American outlets. And Kojima, in response to that, said Americans are just less sophisticated, and so they
ooh.
can't grasp the nuance. Because, like, it had Mads Mikkelsen in it, it had Guillermo del Toro in it, it was starring Norman Reedus
Mhm.
and his fetus.
That was like the big takeaway for all of that too, wasn't it? Hilarious.
The Adventures of Norman Reedus and the fetus.
And this fetus, yeah, I remember that floating around. I do. But yeah, all right. You just unloaded a lot. at one time. All right. So it's you're getting impressed at the Game Pass, the PC Game Pass next week. That's gonna happen. I'm pretty sure a lot of folks gonna be excited about that. It's all right. I'm gonna check it out. Like it's gonna put it on the list of other things. I gotta finish watching Paper Girls. I gotta check this out. I gotta do Sayonara. I gotta do a lot of different stuff. I'm gonna check it out. I'm
Well,
gonna look
I'd
into it.
say unless you get a PlayStation in the near future or get a PC that's capable of playing it,
Hold off
yeah, hold
watching
off.
someone else play it.
Yeah, I mean, you won't get the full experience out of watching
I guess.
somebody play it, but you can understand like the story. You can understand how some of the mechanics work. If you watch it on Twitch, you could ask questions in chat. So
I see that. Like like you do have a Twitch. You are in your mid to late 20s, and like you know about like the Let's Play world because like you know you grew up in it. You grew up in that era. It, when it comes like to playing games and to watching someone else play games, like is there a certain type of games that like you just have to put your hands on to get that full experience, as opposed to ones that you don't have to play to get that full experience?
yeah, for me, experiencing a game for the first time through watching somebody else play it will kind of indicate to me whether I like it or not. But for me, like I have to play it. I have to put my hands on controller and like interact with it and like feel it because
Mm-hmm.
like there's no way watching somebody play Titanfall you don't necessarily get conveyed how good the mechanics of movement are in that game. And
They're very
so
solid. Yeah.
for me, yeah, I'll watch things like I'll watch fighting games, I'll watch people stream games that I've already played. I'll go back and I'll watch. So like some things that I like to watch are JRPGs that I've played before, just like whoever's randomly playing it on stream. Puzzle
Okay.
games that I like to play. So like I like playing Picross and Tetris. Like I'm always down to just have up a stream in the background of somebody playing either of those. Uh
Non-consequential games. It sounds like.
yeah, like I'm really not the type to unless it's something I know I'm not going to play. I'm not going to watch somebody's full playthrough of Uncharted. I'd rather play Uncharted. But
If you see somebody playing Monster Hunter, you better turn that shit off right now.
oh well, I'll watch somebody play Monster Hunter. Like that's
Oh
the
yeah,
thing.
would you?
Yeah, I mean, the thing with streaming and me is a lot of times I'll be watching a stream and I'm like I could be using this screen to play that game. So but like when Monster Hunter, when review codes go out and certain like big streamers and YouTubers are playing it, yeah,
Okay,
I'll watch all of that and then I'll go and I'll play the game, getting excited for the new content.
right on. No, I dig that. We do have one more story to talk about. It's a little bit passive kind of story, a little bit of sad news. In a way, sad news. I want to be honest with you. Like I don't really care about this. Like I do want to play this. I want to be full honest with you. I do want to play this, but Marvel's Midnight Sun has been late indefinitely. From the Marvel's Midnight Sun team, they have a statement out here on Twitter. It says important update from Midnight Sun team. It says we have an important update to share regarding our launch date for Marvel Midnight Suns. After discussion with the team, we've made a decision to move back the launch timing of Marvel Midnight Sun to ensure we are delivering the best possible experience for our fans. We will launch later this fiscal year on Windows PC, Xbox Series X, XS, and PlayStation 5. The Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Nintendo 4, Nintendo Switch version following at a later date. We know fans are looking forward to playing Marvel's Midnight Sun. We will use the extra time to make sure we are delivering the best possible experience for everyone. Marvel Midnight Sun is easily the biggest game we've ever made, and we're incredibly appreciative of all the support players have shared with us throughout the years. It sounds like it's gonna be coming out like possibly in 2023, maybe 2024. But it sounds like this game ain't coming out at all.
Well,
But
the
what are you
fiscal
making of?
year ends March 31st, 2023.
Yeah,
So if they say later this fiscal year, I think it's going to come out because they already had a date. And I think at this point they're just kind of delaying to get out of this fall, but like the farthest they could push is next spring, and next spring is getting more and more stacked. So
yeah, that's because like you can try to escape, like like the still growing Elden Ring. You can escape. Like I think there was a new Call of Duty game that came out recently too, and
well, yeah,
you
Call of Duty's between October and November.
got God of
There's
War also.
multiple
Yeah,
games every week. It's starting
weird.
up in September, like big games, and not just like whatever. Like, there's no safe spot to release a game anymore at all.
No.
And
And like it's a
so,
Marvel game. No offense to you, Marvel. Like, I get like you guys like are trying to do your thing with the whole game world, but like, you don't compare to like the games that's been doing their things for X amount of years, man.
but
Like
Spider
you
Man
don't.
is. Wolverine, I feel
Like
like, is.
let's pause that for let's come on, let's pause that for a second. Like I heard that conversation that you guys had. That is Sony. That is Sony.
It's still so if you go to the Marvel Games website and they
Here
list
we
out the
go.
games that are Marvel games, because like Avengers, it wasn't the best. Like, and so Avengers is a Marvel game. Guardians, all of these games. Because if you go to your library on Xbox, on PlayStation, on Steam, it is Marvel's. Like all the
Here we
games
go.
have the same Marvel brand. It's because they don't have a game studio anymore. Like they did that before, and they
No,
did
they
that with
don't.
Star Wars and Marvel, and it failed. But now they give title different like ensembles,
I I
different
get the
groups to
logistics.
different.
I get the process, but come on, like it may have like the Marvel name attached to it, but this is Sony. This is all like you got to give the credit to Sony when it comes to this one.
Well,
Like when
yeah,
it comes to this game.
but I mean, Insomniac wasn't part of Sony or PlayStation yet when they made the original Spider-Man.
No, no, they weren't. We weren't calling that a Marvel game when that happened.
Yeah,
We were
we
calling it
were. It was Marvel Games went to Insomniac and
the-
had it
we were
made, and PlayStation published it, but it was still a Marvel Games game.
no. The majority of fans were not calling that game. They were calling that an Insomniac game, like full on. I
I
remember I heard
mean,
listening to this podcast as I was listening, like I was literally screaming out, like, no, no, like the Miles Morales and the Peter Parker Spider-Man game, like those are full on Sony. Like they may have a Marvel name attached to it, just like Warner Brothers has a name attached to the Batman games, but like those are Montreal. Those are Montreal games. Just like the Grand Theft Auto or like a Rockstar games. Like we know like there's company that put their names on stuff, but like we know like who really create these games and like Marvel name may be attached to it. It may be like in like the pantheon of Marvel games, but like Sony, the Spider-Man game is a Sony game. I'll die on that hill. I'll die on that hill.
I mean, both things are true. It is Marvel Games went to Sony with,
You're walking that fence.
but I mean, it's now PlayStation Studios. Like Miles Morales was made after Sony bought Insomniac.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and they're PlayStation exclusive. I mean, they're on PC now, but well, Miles Morales is still PlayStation exclusive, but the original Spider-Man, like the remastered package with all the DLC, is just out on Steam, and you can play it on PC now. So, in the same way that Death Stranding, yeah, PlayStation published it on PlayStation, but it came to PC under 505, and now while this came to PC under PlayStation, it's still like if you look at because Fortnite isn't a Marvel game, but the Fortnite
No.
season that was Marvel entirely, where the all the battle pass skins were Marvel heroes, that was considered a Marvel Games product
Dude,
because it
no, get
used
out of here.
yeah, because
You,
Marvel doesn't
that
develop
that's your
games. Marvel
that that's your rationale. Like because they had all the Marvel characters like that made it officially a Marvel game.
no,
That's how you're going at it.
Marvel Games
Okay.
is just a licensing thing. they haven't made games in years. Nobody that's employed at Marvel is working on video games. What
No,
they license it to different developers, so that's why every Marvel game that has come out has been from a different developer, including Fortnite,
because they don't
including
make a game.
Spider-Man, including Guardians, including Avengers,
I I
including
just I just
Midnight
think it's
Suns,
disingenuous.
including
It's disingenuous, like for me, like to put like to call it a Marvel game. Like this is a Marvel title game, but like this game is created by XY like developing company that created the game. It's the same thing that we say like with all like the characters that are part of the Disney property, or now if they're a woman, they're a Disney princess. It's like the same thing as that in a way. In a way. But I can't in good faith like dismiss the developers who actually develop these games just
no,
like and
and
just
that's not
call
what
it a
I'm
Marvel
doing
game.
because like
Okay,
Midnight Suns is 4-axis, Crystal Dynamics made Avengers,
okay,
Eidos Montreal made Guardians of the Galaxy. At no point am I
all
Epic
right,
Games made the Fortnite season that was Marvel stuff and ended with Galactus and all of that. Like,
all right.
I'm not discrediting, but at the end of the day, there's a reason Anthem, that was basically an Iron Man game and everything except for license, but turned out bad, like, wasn't an Iron Man game because it wasn't a Marvel game. Marvel games is just kind of like being able to use these IP that fall under Marvel in an official capacity. They're not
So
developing anything. I'm
a
not
Marvel
saying,
title game. A Marvel title game is what you're
yeah,
pretty much saying. Okay, all
but
right.
all what you're calling Marvel title games are Marvel games now. Like that is all Marvel games are Marvel title games.
Still can't put myself behind that. As a long term game fan, I won't call myself a gamer. I won't put myself in that category. But as a fan of gaming, like the culture. That's why there's just such a debacle when it comes like to saying those words, because like I can't put myself into that category. Like like no, I can't. No, it has to be the developer first, like in company second. That's how it is for me.
Okay, and I get that. Like Disney's way bigger than Insomniac. Like Insomniac needs to be recognized and rewarded first. Disney can get whatever is left
It's
over.
left over, yeah. And like we having that merger with Square Enix, SquareSoft changing his name to the Square Enix, like having like the partnership with Disney. Like people start calling like the Square Enix games Marvel games. Like no, no, let's
I
not go
can.
that route.
It looks like Star Wars is going to be in the next Kingdom Hearts.
What
So
in the hell? Are you serious?
yeah,
Tell me, no, tell me you're joking.
I
How's that gonna
mean
work?
the same way because I mean they've been for a while. Like originally it was just kind of like Little Mermaid, Dumbo, like very core Disney
Obscure.
stuff.
Yeah.
But then they started branching out. They did Nightmare Before Christmas. They did Tron. They did like they
Is it Final Fantasy? Yeah.
well Final
It's all
Fantasy is because it's made by Square, and they didn't really. There was never a Final Fantasy world in Kingdom Hearts. All the worlds in Kingdom Hearts are Disney properties, 100%.
it's characters like Sephiroth showed up. It's like what happened.
But
Yeah.
Cloud and Sephiroth showed up in the Hercules world at the
Right.
Colosseum. That wasn't a Cloud and
World.
Sephiroth world. That was a Hercules world that just
I'm,
had Cloud and Sephiroth. The
I
same
guess
way,
that's my question though. Like how is this like Star Wars thing gonna work? Like because Star Wars is not just one world; it's multiple worlds. So how's that
it
gonna
looks like
work?
it's going to be Endor because it's never the full movie. It's always like the world is like a location or a scenario from whatever they're pulling from. So like
For a
Pirates of the
majority of characters,
Caribbean,
right?
it was just like the boat. You sailed on the boat. There was the ocean and the beach, and you hunted for treasure. It and like Big Hero 6 was like kind of because they Kingdom Hearts
In Tokyo.
3, yeah. They did Big Hero 6, they did Toy Story, they did Monsters Inc. They did so they went more into the Pixar side of things and But I mean, they've been straying away from just
The QC cartoon.
Pinocchio and yeah, like the classic things, and they've been pushing more into the modern, and like even looking at what we've seen of Kingdom Hearts 4, that even looks like it's going to be like because it's they're going for like a realistic type world in
Yeah,
what they've shown so far. So, and just how the Toy Story world in Kingdom Hearts 3 looked better than Toy Story.
I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard that from people.
So I could totally see them going down the route of like going for realism with that kind of Star Wars lens on it. Like,
Well, if Star Wars is going to be a part of it, couldn't Predator and Aliens also be a part of it?
do Disney owns Alien and
Oh yeah,
Predator?
20,
Oh.
20th Century Fox. Oh yeah.
Oh, I don't think they're going into the Fox stuff yet because like if you went down that route, there could be a Bob's Burgers world in Kingdom Hearts, and that just sounds too awesome. But it's never gonna happen. You could have a
Maybe
Simpsons world, a
that was a
Family Guy world,
yeah. Wow.
but
Futurama even. Yeah. That's what Death Stranding sounded
yeah,
like as you were explaining it to me. It sounds like Fry going on random adventures. Exactly what I heard in my head as you were talking about it.
I mean, in a
You can
way,
see it. You
yeah.
can see it.
Planet Express, I could totally see putting a Planet Express decal on like the ATV that you get at one point in the game, and it totally working.
Yeah.
Just
Um
it's the gritty reboot. Death Stranding's just a gritty reboot of Futurama. We got
I
to the
love it.
bottom of it.
I love it. You heard it here first. Wow, it was nice getting into like a heated conversation. It was good. It was nice getting into that. Well, heated on my end anyway. Whew, man, I still got that gamer blood inside me, dude. I'm like, man, I used to go hard. I used to go hard. I do miss those days. But we found a separation of Marvel and Marvel titles. Anton still has like his views when it comes to this. You know, you gotta stay true to you, man. Gotta stay true to you. But you may be on a boat by yourself when it comes to like calling them Marvel games. Does anyone agree with you about that when it comes to calling them Marvel games?
Well, yeah, I mean that's how it's classified. Like if you go to like marvel.com and go to the games tab, it will have all of these things listed together.
But have you heard anyone like call these games like in fact Marvel games? Have you ever like heard anyone like besides yourself like refer to them as such?
Yeah, I mean that's how they're referred to. Like in the same conversations with Midnight Suns, where Avengers and Spider-Man are brought up, they're all brought up as Marvel games. Ultimate Alliance 3, the Fortnite season that was Marvel, all of these things, when you bring up any of the upcoming or rumored, like the Black Panther game, like if you bring up any of these Marvel games, because that's going to be a Ubisoft game.
Yeah,
Like, but, and the same way Star Wars games, like Lucas used to make games, Lucas Arts,
yeah.
and then they stopped making games, but Star Wars games kept coming out. Like we've gotten Battlefront, and we got Jedi Fallen Order, and we've gotten Star Wars Squadrons, and we're getting a Star Wars game from Ubisoft as well. And all of these are Star Wars games, but
Okay,
they're not coming from Star Wars. They're being licensed out to different developers and different publishers to
okay.
the same because Disney they used to make Disney Infinity. Like Disney used to make games. Disney hasn't made games in like
Very long time. Yeah.
right. So I get what you're saying of not don't give the credit to Disney of these games, but I mean at the end of the day, these games have the Disney license because Disney went and licensed them to these different developers and publishers that are better fits instead of trying to build a team at Disney that can make a game on the level of Spider-Man that's not Insomniac. Why don't you just go skip like instead of trying to build that and incubate that and pay all those people and pay for all the tools, why don't you just pay a game studio to handle this property? And then so
I hear what you're saying, and like I can see the logic, and like it sounds reasonable and sound. It's just I don't respect it. I guess that's what I guess that's what it comes down to is that. But I hear you completely. I hate Disney, so that's what it comes down to. I thought for a second you were gonna call Star Wars games Marvel games. That's when I was really gonna lose it, but you didn't say that, so I'm
No.
glad. I'm glad.
Yeah.
You have
Star
me worried.
Wars, the hit Marvel property. Star
What the
Wars.
hell did you just say?
But doesn't Marvel publish the Star Wars comics now?
Oh my God!
So
Stop, dude. Good God! What are you doing?
I mean, it's
You're not.
true.
You're not wrong.
Whatever
You're not
Ray
wrong.
side story comic they want to crank out next is going to be published by Marvel. And so, following that train of logic, Star Wars is a Marvel property.
All right. Well, that is all that we have for today's show. Good Anton. Well, you got under my skin, man. Took only 2 episodes for that to happen. So congrats to you. Congrats to you.
Had to attack the Star Wars soft spot, you know.
The Marvel soft spot is
The
what it really
Disney
was.
soft spot.
Ooh, ooh. But dude, you want to? We were like talk behind scenes about Disney. I will let you know. I do. Ooh. They're changing themselves. I'm not gonna lie about that. They are changing themselves. But Disney,
I mean, at the end of the day, they still take millions in Chinese dollars, so. And yeah, so it's impossible to live a completely moral economic life in the year 2022.
agreed.
So you got to pick your battles.
You got to pick your battles, and why I just don't talk about them sometimes. So that's how I pick my battle. There you go. This has been fun. Any last thing you want to say before we're done? It's Saturday. It is August 20th. There's a lot more stuff happening in this world. Like anything else you want to put out there before we sign off?
The one thing I'll say, if you've been enjoying Table Cheese, hop in the Cheesy Controller Podcast Discord. There's a lot more in depth conversations about everything that we're talking about on here and just anything gaming. We got TV, anime, movies, health, creativity. Like, we just have a bunch of channels. Has been like this server has been a labor of love over several years, and it's something I use every day. So like, if you are in the Discord ecosystem, like, Discord is not for everybody, but like, if you're on Discord and you want a good server to be in with a lot of good people and like good jokes and good times, I say join the Cheesy Controller Podcast Discord.
With saying all that, do not join the FTO Discord because you will find absolutely nothing. So yeah, I am. As you were saying, like, is that for everybody? I am in old man territory when it comes to this, and like this is some newfangled machine that I know nothing about. So, like, I check out Cheesy Controller most definitely. Like, they do got a lot of tabs, like a crap ton. Like, I've seen all the tabs you guys have. Like, well, I'm out. Is and with the talk that people have with Discord, it's a lot of emoji talk. So if you know how to talk emoji or have the conversation that he's talking about, by all means, have that. But huh, you can find me D at FTO Nerd Talk wherever you find FTO Nerd Talk, which is everywhere. Um, Anton, this is an interesting episode. I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, and people can find me at Anton Sixx with 3 X's. So
Fucking guy.
ANTONSIXXX.
Just let it go, Anton.
I just didn't want people looking for Anton Sixx with 2 X's, you know? That's not me.
Ah.
Unless it's the number 6 with 2 X's, because the first X is implied by the number. But it's the. Because, like, on PlayStation, I can't be Anton Sixx with 3 X's because they don't allow usernames with 3 X's.
Yeah, that's very important affiliate. You're right.
So I have to be the number 6, which implies the first X with 2 X's after it.
That's fucking. You guys should have saw like the text messages we had back and forth about that. He was very very absolute about that. It has to be 6 X's, 3 X's, because gotta be different than everybody else. So I get it. I understand completely. No, I feel it, man.
It's part of the brand. The
Part of
three
the brand.
X's are part of the brand.
You're not the
Take
first
them with
person.
me everywhere I go.
Good call. I like that. Crazy 8 the Great. It's the very same way. Don't call him Crazy 8. It is Crazy 8 Great. He will get on you about that. So no, I
It's
get
like
it.
you have to capitalize MF Doom.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Like you gotta like, otherwise,
Right.
like you're not saying it right.
Right.
This has been fun. Thanks for doing this again, man. Like next week, we're gonna be here.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a fun time. Just talking about this, that, and the other. I can't wait.
Same spot, same channels, same us, different content.
Later.
Keep it cheesy.
Hello.